The Democrats still don't know why they lost the election in a landslide, as Scott Jennings of CNN just pointed out. How about alienating half the country and trying to introduce us to woke policies, combined with the worst candidate of all time, maybe isn't enough for them to get over the finish line. And frankly, if I could be honest for a second, no chance in hell did Biden get 81 million votes. Take away all these mail-in ballots that should be illegal, and Trump would be on his way out of office after his second term now, mark my words. But now they have to endure another 4 years of Donald Trump with an even better vice president with even better staff, because Trump knows the lousy ones.
Whatever you want him to do.
He just won a mandate from the American people to execute on the program that he laid out in this election. It wasn't particularly close. And I think he ought to put people in place who are going to do it. That's what the people
go
are
after
asking
his
for.
enemies? I mean, that's
not what he ran on.
Yes, he did. It is explicitly
That's not what he ran on. That's not what he ran on.
Look at what he said in the past week. He literally said that he was going to exact vengeance.
You still don't understand how you lost. He ran on
Don't
immigration.
say me. I'm not a Democrat.
He ran on immigration.
I'm a journalist.
He ran on.
Somehow, because she's a journalist, she can't be a Democrat, according to her logic, but how she became a journalist is beyond me. But these networks hire just about anyone, and I'm guessing she's referring to Mike Davis, who said he'd throw Letitia James's, quote, fat ass in prison for conspiracy against rights. And I don't think anyone would argue with that statement, but that's not Trump's position. It probably wouldn't be good for our country if Trump started throwing a bunch of Democrats in prison, even though they probably deserve it, and I'd like at least some to get a taste of their own medicine. But this is all a bunch of made-up garbage that the legacy media fear-mongered to prevent Trump to win the election. But unfortunately, they have no influence anymore.
Inflation.
I'm not here paid
He
to
ran
represent
on
one of the many things
he ran on in addition to
he ran on the issues that people care about. He ran on the economy. He ran on
nobody's saying that he didn't run on those things, but he also ran on vengeance.
Yes.
He did also run on going after the people who went after him.
And journalists.
It was a key feature of all of his speeches.
Yes, Scott, he literally said, I am your retribution, the Biden crime family, lock her up. Went after Sessions repeatedly for not doing what he wanted Sessions to do, which was to indict Hillary or whoever he wanted to indict.
You can want his campaign to have been about, tax reform and things like that. That is not what he said on the stump. Time after time after time.
Also,
he talked about going after his enemies.
I'm heartened by the fact that the left still cannot figure this out.
Even if you just take the January 6th part of it.
This guy is the male Republican version of Kat from Fox News, obviously the common sense version. I couldn't stand being on this panel with a bunch of angry women and soy boys whining about all the things Trump really isn't going to do.
He made that a big part of his campaign, that he would, if he were in power, pardon those people. You can't say that that was not on the agenda. It absolutely was.
What was the campaign about? Why did tens of millions of people...
Okay, but do you think that he's going to do those other things when it comes to the Department of Justice?
I don't know what he's going to do. I don't talk to him.
A big part of the campaign was being a victim. Like, that was a big part of it, was his victimhood. They're coming for you, but they're going to have to get through me. That was his whole line. That is all about the enemies list. That is all.
I totally disagree.
The deep state. This is the stuff that he talked about on the stump. Unless you just don't want to listen to him. Those are his own words.
I listen plenty.
Scott, if you believe that people who violated the Capitol on January 6th committed a crime, which I would hope you would, because they weren't invited in the way they claimed they were, right? They were not there. They didn't go through security the way the rest of us have to go through to get into the Capitol. They were prosecuted. They were convicted. And now they're serving jail time. And he has said repeatedly that they're political prisoners and he is going to spring them, right?
If Trump chooses to pardon someone that committed a crime, he has every right to do that, even if they were rightly prosecuted. And we know the January 6ers were over-prosecuted and the BLM rioters were under-prosecuted. The ones that did property damage at the most, should serve months but not years in prison. And let me be clear, the majority of the country, see, I can back it up now because of the election, does not give two flying f***s about January 6th.
What does that tell you about how he's going to weaponize the Justice Department and on whose behalf? On behalf of people who committed crimes for him, not for anybody else.
I mean, I admire your, I don't know if I want to call it naivete or optimism that Trump is going to run on the policies you care about deregulation and tax cuts and whatnot. That's just not what his campaign was about.
Well,
that's not what he has indicated.
With all due respect, I've run more campaigns than you, and I know what campaigns are about, and I know why people walk into voting booths. Why people walk into voting booths and what Trump plans to do when handed
the presidency are two different things.
Honestly, this woman and her feelings. She's so condescending. She hates this man so much because her abortion rights are now at the state level. I've watched his campaign more than most people. I don't remember a single mention of Trump actually locking people up. I remember the phrase, success will be his vengeance.